Citations, everyone. So, the return of horrific visions. Yeah, that wasn't particularly on my bingo card for War Within, really anything, really, if I'm being honest, but it is happening. And like anything else in Warcraft, I'm going to overthink the hell out of it, and the ramifications that might follow with it coming back. If you don't recall, horrific visions were essentially these alternate realities, or what-if realities, if N'Zoth had succeeded in his conquest over our world soul of Azeroth, and the planet, and the cities that followed. They were set after N'Zoth was set free by Azshara, and got to work in Nya'lotha, that big old god city place that we had heard so much about. And he started to work his magic, so to speak. And with that magic, the capital cities of Orgrimmar and Stormwind were turned into N'Zoth's bastions of power, where his darkness hangs everywhere. Minions of the Void slaughtering anyone still resisting N'Zoth's grip over the world. In Stormwind, Illyria accepted her power of the Void over her loved ones, and cut off Turalyon, even killing him, and dragging away the likes of Eretor, her son, to either convert him or end him. In Orgrimmar, Thrall was twisted into believing N'Zoth's blood was the only way to save the Horde, and drank it, similar to Manaroth and Magtheridon, Rexxar even following in his warchief's footsteps. Both Thrall and Illyria are notably both vital characters right now in War Within, and from memory, each character actually experienced these visions from their own perspective, like a haunting dream, or in this case, a crimson red flag of what was to come. More notably, with Thrall, the old god's blood, or the Black Blood, was vital in shaping the Nerubians' new form, and giving power to Xal'atath over our own emotions, akin to how the Shah once operated. One has to wonder if they'll have any words on their alternate selves returning, or if they'll be disturbed by it. Additionally, I can't keep thinking back on Xal'atath watching over the heroes of Azeroth and desiring their fury a little while ago. Now we know it seems to have been to further empower the Dark Hearts, but I have to wonder if she, pulling from N'Zoth's own book, wants to enable them as her champions. Illyria has been a target for her for a while, but I also wonder if she wants Thrall, the former world shaman, among her ranks. Something to think on for her plans and goals right now. Back on track though, Wrathion, who had been studying methods of besting N'Zoth, had used these worlds to help shape our minds and fight back against N'Zoth and his very corruption. We were successful and of course defeated N'Zoth, thus ending these horrific visions once and for all. Or did we? As I said earlier, they are returning, and they are currently only 3 entities that could maybe make that happen, to my knowledge at least. The most obvious one being Xal'atath, who, while not an old god, seemingly, is something that can rival their power, or at least use their own methods for her own ends. Which isn't even a move that Xal'atath herself invented. It was actually N'Zoth, whom will be a very vital person in this video, who stole a lot of Yogg-saron's own creations, like the Emerald Nightmare, to further his own ends. So it's possible she's able to replicate these visions of her own conquest, maybe, through the Dark Heart, or perhaps the broken body of N'Zoth, that could be hidden away in the deep waters of Nazjatar, and elsewhere. And perhaps through his stirring of his power, maybe it will awaken him again, if he's not already awake already. We'll get to that in a bit. Here we could just see what Xal'atath has in store for the planet once she succeeded in her own machinations against it. Maybe we'll see it in places beyond Orgrimmar and Stormwind this time. And maybe in places like Dornogal, Stromgar, Borealis, Dazar Lore, Thunderbluff, Silvermoon, or elsewhere. or it'll just occur in Orgrimmar and Stormwind again with some added changes. I imagine it's possible the rest of the world might be under the threat of these visions, so it's possible we'll see it in different regions and cities to further elaborate that threat. Maybe instead of it being an old god's return, it's the arrival of a Void Lord, aka Dementius. Just something I just thought of. Also, there were ethereals in these realms digging up some rare resource only found inside these visions, which they would collect, or have us collect rather, and then they would leave after being given these to study. It's possible, as we've seen ethereals work with Xal'atath before, that they're doing this for her sake, and have their own directives to use this to further empower the Dark Heart maybe, or something else. Maybe this is how the visions return in the first place. The second being Azeroth herself, who could simply be using her own visions, again, to show us these horrific visions as a mean to guide us and remind us on how to fight back against the tricks of the Void. Azeroth's own memories have been a constant theme of late, so perhaps we'll see her use the horrific visions of old to help communicate with us better on what's on the horizon. Admittedly, this is a less fun one, but I could see it being the most likely one that they'll use. Especially since her memory chambers are eerily similar to the Heart's own chambers. All that I can hope for is that Rathian is still involved in some level, even if it is just a memory of him. Though I would prefer it being present Rathian, straight off the Dragon Isles, after his own developments. He should still be that, Earth Warder who is not an Earth Warder, essentially. The main Black Dragon who's always coming in to save the day, while the other Black Dragons are doing their own thing. Lastly, the big one being N'Zoth himself, something that has always been a hot topic and really a fun topic on this channel, has been the underlying theory that N'Zoth never actually died, and escaped into the blade of the Black Empire, that Xal'atath once was imprisoned inside, after Rathian had used it on him to weaken N'Zoth and Nya'lotha, only for it to notably disappear and hasn't turned up since. It's been a big theory of mine, and for others really, that he used it to escape and continues to use it for his own schemes while under the belief that he's dead. A lot less on his radar if people think that N'Zoth is truly gone. He was very firm on wanting the blade to be under his power when agreeing to free Xal'atath from it, and that has been a moment that has had repercussions of late. And the horrific visions were his own design, as we said before. These were realities on if he had won against us. It is his influence that shaped these realms. Now, we could, of course, then have to ask, why would N'Zoth risk his own skin, again by self-reporting that he's still out there by throwing these visions at us? I think in a similar vein to my Azeroth theory, he would be trying to help us by using these visions to warn us. As I don't think N'Zoth and Xal'atath are remotely buddy-buddy, and her digging up his body and blood likely didn't please him in the slightest. He's being used as a tool. It's not the first time N'Zoth has offered us an olive branch on what was to come, as he warned us of Zovol and Sylvanas' own dealings, before it even happened. Also, back in Dragonflight, during our time travel shenanigans of saving Chromie, we accidentally might have exposed N'Zoth to our future, with our minds and whatnot, and that allowed him to plan ahead of every other old god, knowing what was to come and knowing his own demise. It was also revealed in an interview that old gods are not apparently in league with the Void Lords anymore, or at the very least N'Zoth isn't, likely due to the sheer power that Azeroth gave them, and in that freedom of her radiance similar to the Earthen, they found their own schemes and plans that didn't involve their masters like the Void Lords had in stored. And Xal'atath, again, seems to be very chummy with the Void Lords still, since Dementius is her boss, and it's likely her own plans is to summon Dimensius to Azeroth to consume her. Although, that too could be something else that she has planned. It doesn't have to be that Dimensius is her endgame. It could be something else entirely. It could be that she wants to be the one to devour or consume or possess Azeroth as a new body. So in this particular case, the enemy of the enemy is my friend, I think. And Azeroth could be helping us out in his own way to prevent Xal'atath from winning. This ultimate reveal could also expose N'Zoth's own plans, as he could be a force that wants to rival Xal'atath for his claim over Azeroth. Meaning we might have to stop them both in the near future, but for right now, working with him is a means to stopping Xal'atath, perhaps. Begrudgingly, of course. Ironically, it's a sort of a role reversal of what Xal'atath once was when we were faced with the Burning Legion. Except this time, it's N'Zoth and not her in the blade. The last time that we got these visions was when an old god was unleashed, so it's hard to say what exactly is this trigger. It could be Dimensius, like I mentioned. Xal'atath maybe with her dark heart returned and fixed. That could be it. N'Zoth back in action, like I said. Or maybe even a new old god altogether. There is a fifth one still unaccounted for, and I'm not counting Gahun. And yes, it could be for gameplay reasons, for gameplay sakes, but that's such a boring cop-out. So hopefully it's something along these lines and not that. But it's possible. But what do you think? Do you think Azeroth is making a return, or do you think it has more to do with Azeroth memories, or something to do with Xal'atath? Let me know what you think down below. Be sure to like, share, subscribe, bell, and all that jazz. If you'd like to join us on the Discord to talk more on Warcraft and other junk, feel free to do so. Or if you want to support me on my Patreon, like these amazing folks do it, I guess. It would be greatly appreciated. But until next time, my friends,